My ML took over our baby's nursery while we were out, saying, "I'm going to raise him myself." When we came home and found her there, my husband told her, "You have 5 minutes to leave, or the police will remove you." She thought he was joking. He wasn't. My mother-in-law never liked me. That's not an exaggeration, not one of those, "we just had some small disagreements" things. No, she actively hated me. From the moment she met me, she made it her mission to prove that I was unworthy of her son. In her mind, I wasn't good enough, wasn't smart enough, wasn't whatever enough. Nothing I did was ever right. And when we told her we were expecting a baby, she lost her mind. I should have seen it coming. Maybe part of me did. But I never thought she'd actually do something. When my husband and I bought our house, one of the things we were most excited about was having a nursery for our baby. We spent months getting it ready. We picked out a beautiful crib, soft lighting, and shelves for all the tiny clothes and blankets. I'd sit in that room sometimes, running my fingers over the baby books, imagining rocking our son to sleep. It felt perfect. It felt ours. And then she decided it was hers. It started small. She'd make comments about how that room would be better for a guest suite. When we pushed back, she'd huff and roll her eyes, muttering about how some people don't appreciate advice. She brought over decorations that didn't match the theme at all, gaudy gold picture frames, an old rocking chair she claimed had been in the family for generations. It hadn't, and even a cross to hang over the crib. Despite us repeatedly telling her we weren't religious, she'd just laugh and say, "The baby should have some spiritual protection." Things escalated when the baby was born. She started showing up unannounced. If my husband was at work, she'd pretend she thought I'd invited her. She'd push past me and go straight to the nursery, acting like it was her personal space. She'd rearrange things. Put clothes in different drawers. Take down the baby monitor, claiming, "You don't need this. Just let me know if you need help at night." Then she started demanding time with the baby. "You should bring him to my house for a few nights," she'd say, like it was a reasonable request. I raised 3 kids. I know what I'm doing. Every time we said no, she'd get mad. She'd act like we were cruel, like we were depriving her of something she deserved. And when my husband stood up to her, oh, that was a crime. She started crying, playing the victim. "You're trying to take my grandson away from me. You've changed since you married her. You don't care about family anymore." My husband didn't give in. He made it clear that our family, me, him, and our son came first. And that's when things got really bad. One weekend, we went to visit my parents, who live a few hours away. We were only gone for 2 days. Just 2 days. But when we came back, something felt off the second we walked in. There was a smell. A strong one. Like candles and cleaning products. My husband froze. Then we both heard it. A humming noise. From the nursery. My heart was pounding as we ran down the hall. When we threw the door open, I thought for a second I had walked into the wrong house. My mother-in-law was sitting in my rocking chair, cradling my baby like she belonged there. But that wasn't even the worst part. She had moved in. The room was completely different. The soft, neutral tones we had picked? Gone. She had painted the walls a garish baby blue. The delicate mobile we had bought? Replaced with one she had, handmade, which, by the way, looked hideous. The changing table? Pushed aside to make room for a second crib, an old one she had brought from her house. And then, as if all of that wasn't insane enough, she looked up at us and smiled. "I'm going to raise him myself," she said. Like it was the most normal thing in the world. Like we had agreed to this. I was shaking. My hands, my legs, everything. I thought I was going to throw up. My husband's voice was deadly calm. "You have 5 minutes to leave, or the police will remove you." She laughed. Actually laughed. "Oh, stop being dramatic. You're overreacting. I know what's best." I already moved my things, and that's when I saw the suitcases. 2 big ones, tucked into the corner like she had officially moved in. She really thought this was her room. That this was her baby. She had changed the locks. She had taken down our pictures and replaced them with ones of herself holding our son. She had even brought her own clothes. That's when I snapped. I grabbed my baby from her arms, and for the first time in my life, I screamed at her. Not just raised my voice. Not just argued. I screamed. "What the hell is wrong with you?" Her smile disappeared. "You're emotional. You need to rest. That's why I'm here. To help. To help." I was shaking so badly I could barely hold my son. "You broke into our home. You took over his room. This isn't helping. This is insane." She looked at my husband like he was the one in the wrong. "Tell her to calm down. She's being hysterical." His response? He pulled out his phone and called the cops. Right in front of her. She still thought it was a joke. She didn't realize how serious we were until she saw the flashing lights through the window. That's when she started crying. The real theatrics began. She collapsed onto the floor like she was some tragic victim in a movie. "How could you do this to me? After everything I've done for you?" The police came in. And when she realized we weren't going to stop them, that we weren't playing her game, that's when the real meltdown started. She started screaming, saying we were stealing her grandson, that she had a right to raise him, that I was an unfit mother. And the worst part? She really, truly believed it. She had convinced herself that she was the only one who could raise him. That she had some God-given right to take over our home, take over our lives. And she never saw it coming when we fought back. She thought she had won. She had no idea what was about to happen. The police were already inside when she changed tactics. She wasn't screaming anymore. Instead, she stood up, smoothed out her shirt, and put on this weird, forced smile, like she thought she could charm her way out of this. "Officers, this is all a misunderstanding," she said sweetly, like she hadn't just been screaming about how she deserved to take my baby. "I'm his grandmother. I was just babysitting while they were away. My son must have forgotten to tell his poor, tired wife that I was staying here to help." I was so close to losing it again. The officer closest to me glanced at my husband. "Sir, is that true?" My husband didn't even hesitate. "No," she broke in. "We did not invite her. She was never supposed to be here." My mother-in-law gasped, like he had slapped her. "Jonathan, how could you lie like that? I raised you." She turned to the cops, all fake tears and trembling hands. "You don't understand." She jerked her chin at me, like I was some stranger in my own home, has been struggling with motherhood. I was just trying to help. I was saving the baby from neglect. My fingers tightened around my son. That was it. That was her play. She wasn't just trying to take over, she was setting up a case against me. She wanted everyone to think I was unfit. The cops looked at her, then at me. I could see them calculating, trying to figure out if this was some family dispute or if something more serious was going on. That's when my husband stepped in again. "She changed our locks," he said, pointing to the door. "She redid our nursery. She moved in without permission. She stole our baby's space. You think this is just a misunderstanding? We were gone for 2 days. She did all of this behind our backs." One of the officers moved toward the door, inspecting the new lock. "Who put this in?" "I did," my mother-in-law said proudly, like she was waiting for praise. My husband laughed. Actually laughed. "You admit it? You just admitted to breaking in?" That's when she realized she had messed up. The cops weren't on her side. One of them turned back to her. "Ma'am, did you have permission to be here?" She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "I needed to be here," she finally said. "For him." She nodded at my baby. The officer sighed. "That's not how this works. You trespassed. You broke into their home. You don't have any legal rights here." The second she heard the word trespass, she panicked. Wait, let's not get dramatic." Her voice was shaky now, high-pitched. I can just leave. I'll go right now, see? No harm done. It was just a misunderstanding." The officer shook his head. "It's not that simple, ma'am." That's when she started crying again. Big, ugly sobs. "You don't understand. My son has changed. Ever since he married her, she's spat the word out like it was poison. He's been different. She's controlling him. She doesn't even let me see my grandson." My husband was done. "You don't see him because we don't trust you," he snapped. "And after this, you never will again." She went silent. Her eyes flickered back to my baby. And that's when I saw it. The hatred. She didn't care about my son. Not really. This wasn't about love, it was about control. She saw him as hers. Not mine. Not my husband's. Just hers. And she had lost. She knew it. So she did the only thing she could think of. She lunged for my baby. I don't even remember moving. My body just reacted. I spun around so fast my head dizzied, clutching my son tight against my chest. My back slammed into the wall, and I let out an instinctive scream. The cops grabbed her before she could reach me. "Stop," one of them shouted. "Let me go," she shrieked. She was thrashing, clawing at them, kicking, trying to get past them. For the first time, I was genuinely afraid she might hurt me. Or worse, hurt my baby. The cops had her in cuffs in seconds. She fought them the whole way out. She screamed about how we were monsters, how she was going to get her grandson back, how she would never forgive my husband for betraying her. Then the door slammed shut. Silence. I slid down the wall, shaking. I thought it was over. I thought we could breathe. I was so wrong. The next day, we got a visit from Child Protective Services. Someone had filed a report against us. Claimed we were neglecting our baby. And the anonymous complaint? It described exactly what my mother-in-law had said the night before. She wasn't done. Not even close. The CPS worker at the door was young, maybe mid-20s, with a tight smile that didn't reach her eyes. She was holding a clipboard, but I barely looked at it because my brain was still scrambling to process why she was here. "I'm here to conduct a wellness check," she said, shifting uncomfortably. We received a report about possible neglect. My husband was already shaking his head. This is a false report. My mother called you, didn't she? The worker's expression didn't change. I can't disclose that. But we knew. My stomach dropped. This was her plan. She had been waiting for this moment, playing the long game. She wanted to get the police involved, but not to take her away, to take our son away. I just need to come inside, take a look around, and ask a few questions, the woman continued. It's standard procedure. I hesitated. I knew we had nothing to hide, but something about the way she said it made my chest tighten. Do we have to let you in? I asked, my voice quieter than I wanted it to be. She tilted her head. You can refuse, but that doesn't look good in cases like this. Cases like this. Like we were criminals. My husband gave me a look. We didn't have a choice. If we refused, it would just make things worse. So we let her in. She walked through our house slowly, taking in every detail. My husband and I followed her into the nursery, my heart pounding with every step. It still wasn't right. Even after spending the whole night trying to undo what my mother-in-law had done, it still didn't feel like our space anymore. The woman's eyes landed on the pile of things we had thrown into a corner, her hideous mobile, the old crib she had dragged in, the ridiculous gold-framed pictures. Where did all this come from? I swallowed. My mother-in-law broke in while we were out of town. She tried to take over the nursery. She raised an eyebrow, like she wasn't sure if she believed me. Then she looked at my son. He was in my arms, perfectly healthy, perfectly fine. But I saw her eyes linger on his blanket on the way my hands gripped him too tight because I was scared. And I knew what she was thinking. She didn't care about the truth. She didn't care that we were good parents. She cared about the report. The one that probably said I was unstable, that I was dangerous, that I was unfit. I forced myself to take a breath. He's fine, I said, my voice steady. You can see that. She nodded slowly. Of course. But I still have to ask a few more questions. And then she separated us. She took my husband to another room. Left me sitting in the nursery while she questioned him. I was sweating. My mind was racing. What if she believed my mother-in-law? What if she took my son away? The minutes stretched on. I strained to hear them, but their voices were too low. I stared down at my baby, willing myself to stay calm, even though my hands were shaking. Finally, she came back. All right, she said, standing in the doorway. Everything seems fine for now. For now. The words hit like a slap. She wasn't done. She wasn't closing the case. She was waiting. I forced myself to nod. Okay. She gave me another one of those tight smiles. We'll follow up soon. And then she was gone. The second the door shut, I turned to my husband. She's not going to drop this. He ran a hand through his hair. I know. We sat in silence. And that's when the phone rang. I grabbed it instinctively, barely glancing at the caller ID before answering. Hello? A pause. Then, a voice that made my skin crawl. You're going to lose him. It was her. My mother-in-law. I told you, she whispered, her voice slow and venomous. I told you weren't meant to be his mother. And now? Now they know it too. She knew about the CPS visit. Which meant she had called them. Which meant she wasn't just trying to scare us, she was really trying to take our son. I hung up without saying another word. My husband was already dialing someone else. I watched as his jaw clenched. As his body tensed. Who are you calling? I asked. He didn't look at me. My lawyer. Because if she wanted war, we'd give her one. We weren't messing around anymore. Within hours of the CPS visit, my husband's lawyer was on the phone. He told us to document everything. Texts, voicemails, call logs. Anything that showed my mother-in-law had been harassing us. We already had proof that she broke in. Now we needed to prove that she was actively trying to destroy our lives. And she wasn't being subtle about it. The next day, I got a text from an unknown number. Your days as his mother are numbered. I have a lawyer too. I showed it to my husband, and his face darkened. She thinks she can sue for custody, he muttered. She's out of her mind. But when our lawyer looked at it, he didn't dismiss it. Grandparents' rights cases happen more often than you'd think, he warned. It's rare for a court to take a child away from fit parents, but if she's determined, she can drag this out and make your lives hell. So we filed a restraining order. The court date was set. And the waiting game began. For the first time in weeks, my mother-in-law went silent. No texts. No calls. No surprise visits. But we weren't stupid. She was planning something. Then, 2 days before the court hearing, it happened. We were at the grocery store when my husband's phone rang. His whole body tensed when he looked at the screen. It's the hospital. My heart dropped. The words I got into an accident hit me first. Then she's in bad shape. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see her. But my husband, he's a better person than I am. So we went. When we got there, she was lying in a hospital bed, hooked up to machines, looking smaller than I had ever seen her. But the second she saw us, her eyes lit up. You came, she said, her voice weak. I said nothing. My husband crossed his arms. What happened? She gave a tired, pitiful sigh. A car accident. It made me think about what's really important. Family. There it was. The act. I didn't buy it for a second. But my husband, he hesitated. I know I made mistakes, she whispered. I only wanted what was best for my grandson. I snapped. You tried to steal him. Her eyes filled with tears. I thought I was helping. By calling CPS? Her face twisted, but she didn't deny it. I thought they'd see how overwhelmed you were. I thought they'd help. No, I said coldly. You thought they'd take him away. You thought you could get custody. Silence. Then, so quietly I almost missed it, I still do. I froze. My husband took a step back, like she had slapped him. She wasn't sorry. She had never been sorry. I love him, she said, gripping the hospital blanket. More than you ever could. And that was it. The moment my husband was done, I saw it in his face. The realization. The pain. The anger. You'll never see him again, he said. Ever. For the first time, she looked scared. You don't mean that. I do. He turned to me. We're leaving. And we walked out. The restraining order went through. She tried to fight it, but the evidence was too strong. The CPS report. The trespassing charge. The text messages. She lost. And we never saw her again. She sent letters. Left voicemails. All of them were ignored. At first, it was hard. My husband grieved the mother he wished he had. The one that never existed. But eventually we healed. The nursery felt ours again. Our son grew up safe. Loved. Free from her influence. And me? I don't forgive her. But I don't fear her anymore. Because in the end, she lost. And we won.